What's good, everybody? Donnie B got the beats here with my co-host Nicholas Baker here at Two Flu West. You're
What
tuning
it
in. You know
do?
what time it is.
What it do? What it do?
It do, brother. It do. With due to unforeseen circumstances, we could not get Chef JR in at this time, but I'm sure we'll be able to get him back soon. But nonetheless, still Two Flu West, baby. You know what I'm saying? We still had the convo. There's plenty in the world to talk about. You know.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We will still definitely chop it up, chop it up. If you're watching, go ahead, drop a comment. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. But if you got something you want to throw out there for us to talk about, we'll chop it up. Why not?
Yeah, man. And if you're talking enough, we might just see if we can slide you on here real quick. But no promises.
Hey, why not? If you got some time and want to get on the air, man, let's make it happen. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. So talk to me, Baker. What's on your mind today, man? What's the top of your list right now to chat on?
Oh man, there's so many things going on in this crazy world we in. I don't know. I mean, we were just talking about kind of some sports, huh?
We want to talk goats. We talk goats.
Yeah. We can talk to goats. We've been having a whole bunch of sports conversations. So we can go to the goat conversation that has arisen. Of course, in basketball, there's this, ongoing LeBron and Jordan and MJ, and then people throw Kareem out there or whatever. But I mean, I guess Floyd's name is. I don't know if people ever call him the greatest of all time.
Floyd who? Oh, Mayweather.
You said Floyd who? I guess that right there tells you what that is. Either way, I think this GOAT conversation really came out of the Tom Brady kind of situation.
Okay.
And him winning number 7?
7. Yeah.
Him winning number 7. A lot of people have thrown Serena out there to dominate Brady and Jordan. So I don't know. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think definitely they should all be considered GOATs. When people start talking GOAT talk to me, it's ridiculous because in the pantheon of it's like the Greek gods, man. When you talking gods, you're talking gods. Like everybody like to think that Zeus is the god of all gods, but there was people that was higher than Zeus too. You know what I mean? But it's really hard when you're looking at accomplishments and things that people have done. I mean, in the statistical era right now, it's easy to say scoring power, marketability, all of these other things that wasn't previously charted back in the day. I mean, you can say LeBron he should be mentioned as one of the greats. Jordan, definitely one of the greats. Kareem, one of the greats. Magic, one of the greats. Isaiah, one of the greats. You know what I mean? But to say LeBron is better than I don't feel I can say LeBron is better than Shaq because they play different positions. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's like me saying that LeBron is better than Allen Iverson. There's no way in hell LeBron is better than Allen Iverson. Now, again, that's just to me because they play different. They have different skill sets and they play different positions. So when we start talking GOAT talk, I'm looking at the flock. I ain't looking at just, this guy is the greatest of all times. Like that's not even possible, But I definitely, when you transition and take it out of basketball, GOAT talk is like, Brady is a GOAT. But again, it's like I can't say because the acronym greatest of all time. It's like, but if you just say for instance, like we call them widgets, we call them GOATs. Peyton Manning. I always thought Peyton Manning was a better quarterback anyway. That's just me. Joe Montana. I mean, it's fucking Joe Montana, bro. Like people easily talk around that man. Like Rich Gannon, low key GOAT. You know what I mean? Man may not have put the numbers up, but he was smooth. He's like Joe Namath, like smooth. Dan Marino, and I know that was your guy back in the day. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So the consideration for GOAT status definitely is there, and I think the accomplishments are there. Serena too. And I mean, I think the Osaka chick, I think she's gonna be up there with it too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I just don't agree with the of all times distinction that they put on people, and I guess it does boil down to wins. But I mean, we also got to look at the play because the era was way different. You know, like, you breathe on Tom Brady wrong, and they're rewriting laws for him. You know what I mean? Whereas back in the day, people was getting, breaking knuckles and fingers and legs and still coming back to the game. People was getting head taken off. I remember that game with Don Beebe. He got laid out across the middle by Steve Atwater.
His hand like this.
You know what I mean? That's football. But you can't do that now. So I mean, again, we talk about different eras. We talk about different different levels of play, different standards. Like if LeBron played with Jordan, I'm sure he could hold his own. But we talk about the bad boy Pistons, man. You know what I'm saying? We talk about Larry Bird wasn't no slouch, man. He'd ship you in the neck real quick. You know what I'm saying? Karl Malone, he'd beat you up down there. Dennis Rodman, like, you know what I mean? So I think it's a different style of play. I think it's a lot to be considered when we start talking GOAT talk. So in all fairness, I think he is deserving of this distinction, but I cannot call him the greatest of all time. That's how I feel about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think in football it's different because, like, you're rarely going to hear people cross positions. Like, when they're talking about Tom being the greatest of all time, they're talking about him being the greatest quarterback of all time.
Right.
Like, they're not going to compare him to, like, Lawrence Taylor and be like, are they the greatest football player of all time? So that's kind of one distinction. But when I think about Brady and whether or not he's the greatest of all time, I definitely think about the situations he's been in, and people talk about, oh, he came to Tampa Bay and look, they won a Super Bowl. I mean, they also bought a lot of fucking pieces in there too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, damn, Gronk came out of retirement. All of a sudden, Antonio Brown can stay on the team for long enough. You know what I mean? They add to the defense. I mean, the team was already, to an extent, at a certain place.
It was a number one offense just the year prior with famous Jameis. Right.
So when you look at that, like, it's not like he came into, like, Detroit, who's, hasn't necessarily been anywhere, or even like Miami, who's on the upswing now, but previously, they've been, okay. Right. You know what I mean? It's not like he came into that situation and like killed it, right?
Right.
Even going to, like, when they talk about Cam in New England, like, they're like, oh, it wasn't Belichick. And I'm like, you put a totally different quarterback into that system.
Right.
Like, they built a system for years around one quarterback. So now they were trying to figure it out in 1 year. No, they're not going to be the same caliber team that they were previously. You know what I mean? So I think, one, people try to take away too much credit from Belichick, and I don't think that's fair. Two, I think Tom Brady is a great quarterback.
Okay.
No doubt about it. Manages the game like the best manager of the game, like, in his playing years. I mean, Joe Montana was kind of the same way. Yep. You know what I mean? But, I mean, he's definitely had pieces. He's had great coaches, great systems, good defenses. I don't know. I mean, this is probably the best defensive team he's had, I think. You know what I mean? That he's played on. I mean, I don't know. I mean, some of the I don't think the Patriots were ever necessarily great defenses. I think they were good defenses, strong defenses, but, like, Tampa Bay has always been known for defense.
But Rodney Harrison, though, Richard Seymour defense, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I hear it. I feel like they were never the stars of the show. Like, they were good players. They've always had good players on defense, but the defense, so like when Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl, it was their defense that was known, right? When Seattle won the Super Bowl, it was their defense that was known. Like, their defense was the star of the team. I don't think New England's defense was ever that. I think they were strong, but to me, it was always about the offense in New England. It was always about the offense. Like, they got, you plug any player into that system and boom, they got it. They're good to go. You feel what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Either way, I think great player. I think there's been better quarterbacks. Like you said, I think Peyton Manning for sure was a better just all-out quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, understanding of the game. Like, that dude was a coach on the field. You feel what I'm saying? I mean, definitely Joe Montana. I mean, he's Joe Montana. Like I don't really like, you know what I mean? Is what it is. To kind of flex it out to wider to sports and like how they're trying to name a GOAT of all time. I think that's like hard. I don't know. I mean, I always have the Jordan conversation. And when I have that conversation, like it's a few points that I never talk about the rings because I don't think, whatever. Charles Barkley was great and don't have none. But he was a great player. You know what I'm saying? Stockton and Malone, great players. Can't take nothing away from them, but they don't got no rings. So I don't bring that up as a conversation. But I do bring up the fact that, like, I saw a speech. Who was the speech? I just saw it. Obama was talking about when people say, oh, he's the Michael Jordan of fill in the blank, right? He's the Michael Jordan of medicine. He's the Michael Jordan of education. He's the Michael Jordan of golf. Like that in itself is saying something. You feel what I'm saying? Like
I totally understand where you're going.
Huh?
I totally understand where you're going with that.
Like no, you don't hear that about it. Like that statement isn't a statement for anybody else. Even with Tom Brady. Like I've never made the statement, oh, he's the Tom Brady of. You don't. Like, you need to say that. It don't even come out right. You know what I'm saying? You never heard somebody say, oh, he's the LeBron James of. You may compare players coming out of high school now to him, like you may get that, but other than that, it's like not too much. You know what I'm saying? I think certain players' greatness is heightened by certain physical skills, especially in the NBA. So, like you mentioned, Allen Iverson. Part of the reason AI was great, not only because of skill set, was because of his he was small. Like he wasn't the biggest dude on the court, but he played like the biggest dude on the court. You know what I'm saying? Like going to the hole, taking, hits and getting pushed down, but still making shots. And like that kind of non-fear to like go for it no matter what. That added to his greatness.
Right.
LeBron is like 6'9", 2 something.
50, yeah.
Like, and he plays the way he plays. Like that adds to his greatness. It is what it is. Shaq was pulling fucking rims down.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? That adds to his greatness. But I said this on a previous podcast. Who do you hear like model their game after like certain players where the size or like their physical attributes add to their game?
I don't know. You got me stoned. It's not really. I agree. I mean, it's not really something that is talked about. Again, to me, I think the thing that I don't like, or it feels to me, is that people go with scoring. They always go with scoring more so than anything else. And I hate it because to me, a complete player is not somebody that it's hard for me to call Shaq the greatest center of all time if he couldn't make a fucking free throw.
Right. When Elijah Wan over there with moves, steps, free throws, jumper,
yeah, it's just it's hard. And then and I gotta say, overall, people can smite me if they want. They can say that I'm LA struck or whatever, but I back in the DC days, I could stand Kobe Bryant. I could not stand Kobe Bryant. I thought Kobe. I was like, man, he ain't like all that, bro. But like maybe a year or two before I left, really started to pay attention to that bad. Kobe. I think Kobe is the greatest of all time. That's just my personal opinion because he came out the box ready to go. He didn't like Jordan evolved. Jordan started out as a slasher more so, then became a shooter, and when he couldn't slash like he used to, he still sunned people. Don't get it wrong, but Kobe came out the box sunning folk. Like
I tell you, the only argument I have to that is it's hard for me to call him the greatest of all time because he patterned his game after Jordan. So it's hard for me to say he's greater than Jordan if he patterned his game after Jordan. You feel what I'm saying? Like
I feel you, but I don't think he just patterned after Jordan. I think he patterned it. He took a little bit from everybody. It showed.
I think after he got in the game, maybe. That's fair. I mean, from the way he wore his uniform to the fadeaway to, yeah. I mean, his mentality was you can't teach that. You know what I'm saying? His competitiveness, his go after it. You can't teach it. It is what it is. Right. So like, you know, like I think I saw a stat that was pretty remarkable. I had to like Google it twice. Like him and like Mike and Kobe are the only two players in history who've ever led the league in scoring and been on the all defensive first team.
Yep.
That's crazy. Like if you think about it, as many years as this game's been played, only two players have done that.
Yep.
And I think that speaks to skill set. Like it's skill set. Like, and that's what I always tell people why I think Michael was the like greatest of all time. It's skill set. It's the fact that in the league, he's an average size player. He's not like overly big or overly like small. He's like average size for the league.
Right.
But when he played, you know, and I'll say out, like you said, coming out of the box, I'll say after the first probably 2 to 3 years of his career, there was nobody else in the league that people were like having an argument over who was the greatest. It wasn't an argument. Even like when they did the Dream Team, if you watch the people talking, they was like, yeah, we did this scrimmage, and like after a while, it was like, oh, it's a new sheriff in town, and it is what it is. And this was the players saying that, not like fans, not like arguments. It was like Michael Jordan is the best player in the league. Period. No argument. No commentator was like, you know, Magic is dope. Like, and Magic was dope. But when when he got to that point where it was like take over, that was it. You didn't hear nothing else. And like to this day, like people be like, I mean, shit, some people be like, LeBron ain't the best person on his team. Nevertheless, the league, you feel what I'm saying? Like the KD argument is still there. You know what I mean? Like it's a thing. It's a legit argument. And I'm just like, for that point alone, I can't call him greatest of all time if even in his time, there's still question. And I feel like Jordan didn't have question. I even think with Kobe, like Kobe never even had that respect. I don't think. No, I don't think people were like, Kobe's the greatest in the league. I mean, you know what I mean? When he was playing, I don't think people ever would just like undeniably Kobe is the number one player in the league.
I agree. People always just wanted to hate him.
Huh?
I said I agree. I think people just really wanted to hate him. Honestly.
I mean, yeah. Yes, he was like you know, you got Spider-Man and then the dark version of Spider-Man. What's that? What's he called? Whatever. He was like the black Spider-Man, the dark Spider-Man. Like Michael was Spider-Man, and Kobe was the anti Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Because he didn't talk all that fluffy shit, and he said what he wanted to, and was like very much like, you know, fuck it, we ain't won yet, or like, you know, just eye of the tiger all the time. You know what I mean? People started to love Kobe after he left the game because of everything he did after. You know what I mean? As far as his personality goes. But when he was in it, it was like, I ain't got time to be liked. I'm trying to win titles, period. So, you know, it is what it is, man. I don't know if anybody will ever really have a solid answer to greatest, not greatest, greatest of all time. Like some people may throw Muhammad Ali out there, you know what I mean, and as the greatest of all time. It also depends on what are you judging?
Exactly.
Are you judging their work in their sport? Are you judging them as a humanitarian? Like if you're doing all that, then yeah, the conversation gets real muddy. So
yeah, I mean, I think too, a lot of that has to do with being not humanitarian, but being influence, the influence and stature that comes in the territory. Because I mean, you look at there's players, and you start talking great, you know, GOAT talk, especially in boxing. Like you mentioned Floyd. Like I think he's probably the most influential of all time. Mm-hmm. But when you start throwing in like stuff like politics and so forth and so on, then you definitely obviously got to talk Muhammad Ali talk. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, you got to think like Joe Louis. You know what I'm saying? Joe Louis is nasty. I mean, rest in peace, Pernell Whitaker. Like you start talking boxing, man. If you ever watch Pernell Whitaker, that man was just the work, man. You know what I mean? He was Floyd before Floyd was Floyd. He was what's our boy old boy who just fought Mike Tyson was Roy Jones Jr. before Roy Jones Jr. was Roy Jones. You know, you didn't have an answer for that, man. And so, like, I think, like you said, skill set is one thing. And I think that's usually the conversation that's had amongst people that are connoisseurs of the game or understand the game. Yeah. But, you know, that's the thing that always rubs me the wrong way is like, you know, you have to have, you know, conversation with regular folk that don't really know what they're talking about. And they have a wolf ticket conversation. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, you talking about who's the most popular. And that's great, but it's like, why are we talking in circles here? You don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm always leery of having certain conversations with certain type of folk. But that's that. But I think, like I said, Pernell Whitaker, boxing, we talk about, okay, you know, obviously Floyd, Muhammad Ali, Joe Louis. You got to put I throw Holyfield up there, honestly. Foreman up there. You know what I mean? There's other people, Lennox Lewis. I mean, I never really liked him as a person. I mean, never knew him as a person either. But you know, it's just you know, he had his, you know, gifts and talents. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think you know, in that conversation, like again, if I keep my argument the same as I always do with skill set, I have to put Floyd in that conversation. Like, I think Floyd's skill set as a boxer is probably the cleanest, like most like understanding of the sport. And that's like the science of the sport. You know what I mean? People in boxing like to see a knockout. That's just what it is. Like the sport, if you can knock somebody out, your star will rise quick, right? But Floyd fought, you know, into upper ages, but looked sharp. There's some people who kept fighting, like, you know, you can say Bernard Hopkins kept fighting, but Bernard Hopkins ain't look like Bernard Hopkins when he was fighting. You know what I'm saying? Like, he started looking like the crypt keeper out there trying to keep fighting. You know what I mean? Yeah. But Floyd, every time he fought, looked like Floyd. Like, same skill set, same defense, same quick hands. And I think that came from his understanding of boxing. Like, you saw him literally dissect people in the ring and make it look like he wasn't doing anything. Right. But like, if you know boxing and you understand like the sport, he was like crazy with it because his footwork, his defense, like just his understanding of it was like top notch. And I think that's why I consider him probably, you know, the top of that hill. Like, there's other reasons of other people that, like you said, were maybe more dynamic. Like, I actually think Muhammad Ali might have been more influential in the sense that he came up in a time where social media wasn't a thing. So he was as influential as he was without social media. So I feel like if he had an Instagram account, Muhammad Ali would have been, you know what I mean? Like, all over the place. He would have been killing it, but he ain't had it. So I think Floyd just used the tools that were there. But when it comes about him in the ring, you can't deny. Like, hate him or love or hate him, like, watch the skill set and then go take a boxing class and then watch it again. And you'll be like, okay, like Slim, like, got these skills down. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, I think again, like you said, it really, I can't argue with you about that. I definitely agree. You know, he definitely has a skill. He has a ton of skill sets. They're just ridiculous. And like you said, if you watch boxing, you know, you can see him switch. You can see him cycling through his boxing styles. You can see when his eyes will look a certain kind of way when he see a hole and he attacks the hole. You know what I mean? And it's ridiculous to see that in motion because most people don't look for stuff like that. But if you know what you're looking at, you see it. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's funny because, you know, I didn't grow up a boxer, but I got boxers that, you know, that my uncles were boxers. And, you know, growing up in the house watching, we probably used to watch football and boxing. Mm-hmm. And it's something my uncles used to always say. You can always tell, look at, like, you know, especially if a person's about to get knocked out, look at their knees. You know what I mean? Knees is wobbly. You can see it. You know what I mean? You can look at their eyes, look at the knees, and then, you know, and it's just certain things with like Floyd, like you said. You know, just his. You can tell it's like he performing arithmetic in his head. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I mean, I definitely can go with you on that. I mean, I wasn't allowed to see.
The best thing to do is look at his fights in slow motion. Like
Floyd?
that. Yeah. Watch his fights like watch a round in slow motion. That's where you really get the appreciation for what he did in the ring. You know what I mean? Like when you see it in fast motion, it don't look like much. But when he's like back on the ropes and doing this and get a punch in and then come back and you see the other boxer's fist like just missing his face and him just ducking under stuff, like it's like a rhythm. And like, you know what I mean? Like I ain't seen nobody with that skill set better.
Pernell Whitaker.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the only thing I'm gonna say. That's the closest that you can get to it.
Yeah,
Sweet Pea was nasty, but I mean, at the time I had never seen nothing like that before ever in life.
Yeah,
you know?
I give you that.
But and I feel you on that. With regard to, I know the conversation switching up modes a bit. The conversation there was Simone Biles basically put out an article on ESPN. Blasted them about a picture that they put out with the greatest of all times, and it was like predominantly a bunch of guys in the art, the illustration. Mm-hmm. She was ashamed that she don't see she could think of several other women that should have been on that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Did you see that article? And if so, what was your thoughts on that?
I didn't see the article, but I definitely think it's one of those topics that is very interesting. Like, I think in that conversation of if you're talking about greatest of all time, talking about athletes, like, do you do like men and women? Do you do it as just athletes and say like, all of these people could like, hold reign? Like when we talked about Tom Brady, Michael, or like Serena Williams, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you just categorize it as greatest of all time as athletes and make that distinction? I don't know. Like, I don't know what I think about that when it comes to that part of it. You know what I mean? Because there's certain pieces of like that would just be like domination of the sport that they're in.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like, if you look at it that way, then I definitely understand the Serena Williams like conversation. You know what I mean? I might even agree with it. But it's like I also know that I can't think of like a great Andre Agassi, let's say. That's the only tennis player that came to my mind. Or Roger Federer, right? Like she probably could hold her own in a match with one of them, like a real match. But at the same time, if the male was to beat her, like if Roger Federer was to beat Serena Williams, I think one of the first arguments would be, well, he's a man. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a difference of strength. It's just like kind of these conversations around transgender players. Like,
right.
A guy who changes or goes through that transformation to be a woman playing in women's sports. Is that fair or not? Right.
Right.
So I bring up all of that to say, like, it depends on what we're judging by. What are we judging by? Like, is it just who's dominant in their sport? Because then I think, yeah, you should do men and women, right? But like, if you're saying who's the greatest basketball player, I mean, yeah, because you could look at basketball and talk about like the WNBA. Right. And I cannot think of. I think when the WNBA first started, it was like Houston, who like won the first like 5 or 6 titles.
Yeah, they had Swoops.
Swoops, right?
Yeah.
Like, is she in the conversation?
Nobody ever talks about Swoops.
Nobody ever brings her up. But why? You feel what I'm saying? Like she was dominant in the sport, but I think if you talked about what are you talking about if you talk about my bad. Yeah. I lost the thought. If you talked about women's basketball,
right?
Who's the greatest women's basketball player? Her name would come up.
I don't know, because it's you still talk. People still talk Lisa Leslie. People still talk Rebecca Lobo. Hell, I love Dawn Staley. I thought Dawn Staley was amazing. You know what I mean? Diana Taurasi. Like there's a lot of people. This little girl, the young lady, Linesco, that just came out. Like I think she's raw. She got a serious talent. You know what I mean? And I think that there's a lot of people. Shamika Holesclaw. I used to love Shamika Holesclaw. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that should be considered. But again, I think it's the conversation that it's so convoluted because people are judging from a lot of different perspectives. And I think the only thing that really should matter when you talk about the dichotomy between the pantheon of women and the pantheon of men in sports is it should be an asterisk with contact sports. If like tennis it's virtually no contact, right? It's just basically one side of the court against the other side of the court, and if you can do a backflip and hit the ball over the net and it worked, hey, you know what I'm saying? Great. Golfing, you know what I'm saying? If you can putt the hell out of a ball, you know what I mean? Never know, physically. There's things that one gender can do more than the other gender. That doesn't mean that they're better. That's just okay. If you stretch a leg this way, you can hit the ball further, and that's just a science. But I think when you start talking contact sports, that's like saying, "Oh, Amanda Nunes is one of the greatest women boxers of all time," but you put her in a ring with Mike Tyson. That's a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
So. I think that's where we start. That's where people should really start drawing up the measurables for when you start talking GOAT talk, because that's the thing that it really boils down to, and is that there's what's the impact? How dangerous is it? You know what I mean? Because I mean, even like Danica Patrick, people don't want to throw her in, or speak her, but she should be considered in GOAT talk. You know what I mean? And that's just the reality of it. You know what I mean? You're not gonna put it, but most people, they think of greatest race car drivers, they like Mario Andretti, people like that, and it's like she's had her achievements just like everybody else who's put on a uniform. You know what I mean? So you start talking about accolades, that's one thing, but when you start talking about contact and ability to potentially hurt somebody. And just, because it's like, how it is, bro. If you could talk all you want, you can talk all the smack you want, but somebody sock you in the face, your whole perspective change. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's really what it boils down to, is that in non-contact sports, you can do that greatest of all time stuff, but with men and women. But when you start talking contact, no, you need to put men over here, you need to put women over here, because I don't know about you, I don't want to see Cyborg get knocked out by daggone Lennox Lewis. I just don't want to see. You know what I mean? Because I barely wanted to see Nate Robinson get knocked out by that the young man he fought. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, this is me. I'm my bad. I don't mean to cut you. I got JR on the line. I'm trying to get him in.
Okay.
I'm trying to see, but this joint be lunching with Safari sometimes.
Okay.
So I'm trying to see. Huh?
Here's the chef. He's here.
Okay, go ahead.
Give him a second. I'm trying to let his picture, his video populate.
Okay.
I'll try to bring him in since he's in the room. Let's see. Oh, there he is, chef. Chef.
Can you hear us?
You in Japan or something, brother?
He in the car.
Yeah. Where?
Let me see. We can see you. Can't hear you.
Can you hear us, chef?
Whatever you was about. There you go.
Can you hear you now? Yeah.
I hear you now. Can you hear us?
Let's go, chef.
Oh, out of there.
Grand opening, grand closing.
Hey, man, this is what it is. It's like, technical difficulties, man. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, man. Like you said, it is what it is.
Yes. We'll try to get them back in. We had a little confusion with the time, man. We're gonna be more clear on our times.
Okay.
We in this Cali time.
Yeah.
Hey, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Hear me?
Yeah.
Now we can't. You went in and out. Something
Hello?
happened.
Yeah.
Now I can hear you. Whatever you got now, leave it there.
Right here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it was connected to my car. I'm like, yo, why can't hear nothing? What's up? How's everything? Y'all confused me with the 3 o'clock joint. I'm like, I went on that 3. I'm like, what's going on?
Hey, you know what? Believe it or not, that's not the first time I heard it. Like, we're gonna try to get our flyers with the actual both times on there. Because
Yeah.
people be like, yo, I was going at 3, y'all wasn't there. I can't get in.
Yeah, because it was like nobody's there. I kept getting the same message. So I'm just like, maybe they canceled this. So I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, nah, we both out in Cali, so we on that West Coast time.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so what's good with you, Chef?
Man, I'm chilling, man. Just, taking it day by day. Like right now we're working on trying to send an 18-wheeler truck to Texas with like Pampers, dry goods, like, stuff that they need out there, water. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
You did that with Change for Good?
With Corey.
Yeah.
Corey, he had the mobile bar, sugar rim bar.
Yeah.
And the crazy part, we started out like around the same time. Like we used to just do events together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, like still work, seeing him grind, everybody still going hard, feels good.
Yeah, man. Listen. Like, just being real, like I know we didn't see you from the beginning, but we saw you fairly early in your grind, man. And just like, seeing how you grinded and got to where you are right now. And I know you ain't even like, touching the tip of the iceberg yet to what you're gonna do. Like, your grind is unbelievable.
Man, we got a lot of stuff that we working on right now. I feel, what's crazy? I feel like even though it's been 9 years, I feel like this is like the first year where we can actually do stuff and make money and, like put our people on and take it to the top because now we have the funding.
Yeah. But let me ask you this question. And, we're going to go off some questions that we got and then go off the flip too. It is what it is. Like, right. How do you feel about like your influence now? Like, you can hop on, IG and say, yo, we need help and people going to come to it. Or, I honestly feel like you've probably influenced a lot of chefs in the area for sure.
Yeah, you definitely did.
Even like, just so you know, like I'm in the Bay Area now, and there's a young guy out here, chef. He goes by Chef Brandon, but like he brought up your name out here. You know what I'm saying? So like,
that's crazy.
How does that feel just to have that reach, that influence through doing something you love?
Man, it feels good because I feel like when we first started, even though we wasn't making money, we was planting seeds. I always told my team we like farmers. We like, we plant the seed. Everywhere we go, we planting seeds. We just doing good business. It's not about the money. It's about like building a brand, building relationships, making those connections. So if I did come out there, I could reach out to a chef and say, hey, I got this event, going on. Can you help me? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like now to be able to just like make a phone call or just like you said, post on Instagram and people are just willing to help, willing to volunteer is amazing. And I just feel like we had to build that. Like it didn't happen overnight. Like we had to really show people like our hearts, really show people our hard work, dedication, and what we're about for them to love us and what we do.
Yeah. Facts. I mean, and like I think I definitely we both can speak to that, you know what I mean, as far as the grind that we've seen you do. I think one thing that's always like we had DeMont on last week, and I think the thing that's like the same is the presentation. No matter what you were doing, you always have a certain level of presentation that like is a high standard. So you could tell what kind of level y'all that you was gonna be on from the beginning. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's what I try to tell chefs. That's why I tell chefs today. I said it don't matter how much you're getting paid. Like, you representing yourself and your brand at the end of the day. If you accept the job, you got to do it 100% or don't do the job. Don't say, well, this is what they pay for. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you know what your standards are, those are your standards. So everything we did, we overdid it. We like did it next level. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't sit back and say, you know what, they only paid this $5,000, so we're going to give them $5,000 worth of work. And what I would do is I wouldn't let people talk me down from my price. Like, if my price, say you wanted to book me and I say my price is $10,000, but you didn't have 10, and you said, you know, I had $5,000. I wouldn't let you talk me down to $5,000, but I would work out a deal with you. I would say, you know what, give me the 5. I'm still going to give you $20,000 worth of work, but let's do a contract, and I'll sponsor the other 5, and then you can see what I'm capable of. And then the next go round, like the next 3 events, you got to pay me my full price, because you know that's what I'm worth.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't burn the relationship. I wouldn't say no, because you never know, like, what connection I'm going to make off of your event. So it's like, I always want to do the event, but in your head, you're going to respect me because you didn't talk me down and I handle business well. A lot of these chefs don't know how to handle business. They'll let you talk them down, and then now you thinking, I could always talk this person down, you know, because he don't know business. And that's what I try to teach him. I'm like, it's not about not doing stuff for free. It's about how you carry yourself and how you're going to move in the future, and, you know, how people are going to respect you and look at you and your brand.
Hey, that's a business gem you just threw out there, because that not only chefs do that, music producers, artists, like, you know, entrepreneurs in general, people trying to be business owners. That's like a gem right there. Like, you don't have to bring your price down. You still may do the situation and get something out of it. But like you said, sign that contract. Say, you know, I'm gonna look out for you.
Full price. Yeah, I'm gonna look out for you. Now you gotta look out for me. And then once you see what I'm capable of, and once we throw this fire event, you ain't gonna have no issue for the next 3. Like, and we gonna continue to build the relationship. But I done seen it happen to chefs where it's like all they do is get called last minute and they get talked down because they don't know how to handle business. They just know how to cook and they want to make a quick dollar. And I'm always like, it's not about making a quick dollar. It's about like building that foundation, those relationships. Because like 5 years later, you never know where I'm going to be, and I don't know where you're going to be. And we might be able to do $1 million deal and somebody, you know, to get the bag, because I know your work ethic.
Exactly. Donnie, what you got?
Ain't nothing. Listen, first thing, Chef, you know, I'm just elated to see you doing your thing, brother. Like, it's funny. Like, I got my whole I got like an online portfolio, man. I was going back through it, looking for some old work, and I came across the old. I don't know if you even remember the little 30 second meal joint that I did for you up at Meredith House a couple days ago. And I was just like, man, this brother he just took off, man. Like, just proud to see you moving, man. So I definitely wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem. I got also the homie Coach Thomas, man. Coach Thomas told me to tell you specifically. He left a passage on Instagram. He said he messed with Kitchencray strong. He love that loaded salmon.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah. He said tell JR I'm a DC native, Northeast specifically.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
He said, yeah, I've been to Milk and Honey since it opened. Since you opened. So he said you'll know the significance of that statement, man.
Yeah, like, it's crazy because a lot of people like not to throw shade on Milk and Honey, because, you know, whatever their business model is, that's what it is, and they're Black business, so I want to talk down on them. But I just feel like every business can improve, and I feel like they don't want to go in that direction where they want to satisfy their guests, and I feel like that's where they lose at. Because, for example, if you go in there and you're allergic to avocados, you can't order that dish. If you come to us, if you're allergic to avocados, we taking the avocado off. You could get that dish. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like y'all paying our bills, so you should, you know, I should be able to benefit. If I can make it happen, I can make it happen. Now, if I can't make it happen, that's different.
Yeah.
But if I can make it happen, why not? It's not going to kill us. You know what I'm saying? So if they did a few tweaks, I feel like they'd be, you know, on the map. But I feel like they got caught in their ways, because they opened up before us. So Milk and Honey was already, pumping as far as like a brick and mortar before us. So when they set they standards, people just was like, all right, this is the standard, because they ain't have nowhere else to go. And then
Right.
when we came in the picture, they like, oh, all right, like this is what we talking about. This is what we need. This is what the community need. And then we don't just focus on food.
Yep.
We focus on the whole picture.
So would you classify that as like the experience? Would you say you're like an experienced businessman? Like you just try to give, when people see Kitchencray and experience Kitchencray, it's about them experiencing the whole.
It's about the experience. And it's crazy. I just had a meeting with my staff today because now we're working on a new dessert and the bar program. So, like when the entree come out, people got their phones out. When the drink come out, I want people to have their phones out. I want you to have your phone out the whole time, just like, and wow. So that's what we're working on now. So we just brought on like some mixologists, some pastry chefs, and we're about to just take it to a next level because I see what the people want, and they want to feel like a kid again. You know what I'm saying? Like when you celebrating your birthday, you want the cake with the sparkles on it. You know what I'm saying? Like when you have a drink, you want the drink with smoke coming out of it, just because it's a memorable moment.
Right.
Hey, look. So I was just gonna say, like, I mean, I think, and before we get too far about like what's coming, like, how did Kitchencray come about? Like, how did it start?
Man, I started Kitchencray, like I came up with the name in 2012, and I was just like, man, I don't think they ready for this, but I'm gonna just at least start something, get the LLC. And Cray is an acronym. The C was for the creativity, the R was for the revolution that we were starting, because it was no black chefs out there that were our age. We was in our 20s, doing what we do. The A was for the artistry, because we culinary artists, and the Y was for the youth, because we was young. We was between 22 to 28 years old doing what we did. And I just felt like in the DMV, they wasn't highlighting black chefs. So I said, you know what, we're going to create our own team and highlight each other and highlight out, what I mean? Like, we don't need their validation. The streets is going to highlight us. And that's when we took off with the kitchen takeovers, when we were going to house, planting those seeds. Whatever you got in your house, we turning it into a 5-star meal. You know what I'm saying? Then we said, you know what, we need to do this. We made it so big that we started doing it in restaurants. And in the beginning, it was hard for us to get in restaurants because the concept was we come and take over your restaurant for a day. So the chef is looking like, are they trying to take my job type thing? And I'm just like, bro, we just coming in here on the day that y'all close, and we going to help make $50,000 on the day that y'all close.
Yeah.
And they still didn't get it. They still thought like we were coming for their job. So they would like freeze our stuff, throw our stuff away. Like every restaurant we went to for the first time, we had to like overcome crazy challenges and be the bigger person and the better person to show them what respect is. Like when we went to LA and we did the House of Macad, it was owned by the dude that owned Philippe Childs.
Yeah.
And we went in there, and it's a full-blown Asian kitchen. So they like, you got these. We went there the first night to meet them, and we could tell that they didn't like us. When we came back the next day, that kitchen was trashed. My staff is looking at me like, yo, we gonna cook in this trash? I said, this is a test. You know what? We're gonna clean it. We're gonna do our event, and we're gonna clean it again to show them who we are. Like, we can't, like you said, lower our standards because their standards are low.
Right.
And that's what I live by. And I feel like that's why we keep getting blessed with, bigger opportunities. And that's why we just keep passing everybody, because we really love what we do. We take pride in what we do, and we don't burn any bridges.
And y'all don't burn no food either. Look.
Yeah, that's
it. I mean, hey, look, I mean, y'all good at what you do too. Like, that's the thing. Like, y'all got the passion, but I mean, the food is amazing. So
yeah, look, thank you. Appreciate
we got to throw that out there too.
And I wouldn't mind some damn sprinkles on my birthday cake, by the way. You know what I'm saying?
Look, you want the big cake with the big sparklers on it.
Yeah,
right.
Get the fog off that mug. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hey, look, so do you have a most kind of memorable event or place where like you've prepared the food at, where y'all been at? Like a most memorable, or at least top 3?
I would say my most memorable event was when we got booked to cook for XM Radio. My bad, I'm dropping my daughter off real quick.
You good, man? Do it. Look, it's real life things. Two flew west.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I remember when she was like,
Yeah, she was a look.
way down there.
Look, she about my height now.
Crazy.
She was in here learning from the conversation.
Cool.
That's how you do it.
But yeah, I would say the XM Radio, and I would say that was my most memorable event because it was the event that changed my life. This was in, I think, 2015, where like nothing was going right for me, and my bank account was negative. Like, it was just a lot of crazy stuff going on in my life, and I was just like at the point of giving up again. So I was just like, man, is it, is it worth doing this? Because I can't pay my people. Like, I'm not living right. You know what I'm saying? So I just said, prayed, and I was praying on it. And then we went to XM Radio, and we just said, yo, try our food. We just gave them samples. We did a tasting for them. And this for their Christmas party. And it was 500 people. And I never served 500 people on my own in my life. So I'm just like, this is a crazy event. But they was paying $15,000. So I said, I need that $15,000. So I'm going to make this work no matter what I got to do. Yeah. And they gave me $7,000 up front. And I'm just like, all right, now it's on. Like, I got $7,000 and I got to do the right thing with this money. And I got to make, the right decisions. And what happened was I didn't have a kitchen. So I'm sitting here scrambling like, yo, how we supposed to make food for 500 people with no kitchen? And we ended up calling the church. The church donated the kitchen. We donated like $1,200 to the church. We rented trucks. Like, we made it. At the end of the day, we got the job for the next, like, as long as that lady was there that was handling the catering, we got all the jobs. And I felt like that event changed my life because when we got paid that other $7,000 on the back end, I was able to take $5,000 and save it, then grow the business with that. And that's when I was like, all right, now, we could make, some little moves now, and I could pay people. I felt like I had money. I'm like, I got $5,000. I could, get a little, I was renting the room. I said I could rent a little room for $300 a month. Got a little car note, $200 a month. I was back in the game. Yeah. And then the next life-changing moment was when we started doing the pop-up brunches. And we started out at Barcode. They was paying me $500 every time I popped up. And to me, $500 was a lot till I figured out the event was making like $90,000. And I'm like, man, I'm only getting $500. Yeah. So I said, you know what? I said, I need $5,000. And they's looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, nah, I need $5,000. Like, if y'all using my name and people are lining up for my food, like, I need something. I need a little more. And they said, you know what? You're not worth the $5,000. So they kicked me off the event. I said, all right, cool. And then I got a call to do another one. And the dude was like, I never did it before, but it seems like you know what you're doing. Let's go 50-50. In that first event, we did like $60,000. After that, it was over. Now I'm making money. You know what I'm saying? Now we making like more money than we ever made in a year in a couple of days. So I said, you know what? I did that for maybe 2 years and saved up my money and said, you know what? Let me open up my own spot because people kept coming to the DMV like, where can we get your food? And I will always say, well, I'm doing the brunch on this day. And they like, dang, I'm going to be gone by the time, y'all do y'all brunch. So I said, you know what? I need to open up my own spot. And that's what I did. We opened up Kitchencray Cafe 4 years ago. And as you can see, things have been going up. Then we opened up DC 6 months ago. We opening up a speakeasy this summer. We opening up Virginia this summer. And then I'm going to start heading south, come out west. And yeah, we just going to keep growing it. And then I just started getting into other things like collecting art, stocks, just investing money in different ways so my money can make money.
Right.
That's what's up. That's like, I love the fact when we do these joints because like the grind that we hear, some of the stories that we hear, like, you know, again, I seen you doing the like, you know, kitchen takeovers, but like even some of these stories you telling didn't even know like you had those bumps, but like to hear that grind and figuring it out and like, okay, you know, I had to go through this obstacle to figure out how to do
Yep.
this part of it, right? And all these lessons, I think those are important for people to hear because like a lot of people will think, oh, you know, oh, this shit was easy or, you know, it just came overnight or some shit. It's like, nah,
Yeah.
like the grind is real and
Like
you got to
people,
put in the work.
it's crazy because people really thought that. I'm like, bro, like before this Instagram shit, like we was handing out flight, like 3 people will come to our event, 5 people, 10 people, but we still giving them a show. We just like the venue big enough to hold 200 people and there's 10 people in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I guess people would say it's embarrassing, but I'm just like, I was taught if 10 people show up, give them the greatest show ever because the next week they're gonna bring 10 people. Then they're gonna, and that's how it worked. Like we didn't cancel the event because we didn't sell out the tickets. And I feel like that's what a lot of people do. Like they give up too easy. They like, man, we supposed to sell 200 tickets. We only sold 50. Man, we not gonna do that event no more. And we didn't think like that. I always thought like, man, we just gonna have to deal with these 50 people. And these people, we're gonna give these 50 people the best show of their life. And that's what we did. And I just felt like people appreciate that. Because you gotta think about it. If you're gonna cancel your event because enough people didn't buy tickets, you're never gonna have an event.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's nobody spreading the word about your event because it keep getting canceled and people not gonna trust it after a while. So I never, ever, I don't care what the circumstances is, we never cancel the event that we put our name on.
Right.
Hey, that's facts, and that don't matter how. Like, nah, it don't matter how big your name is either. Like think about Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill is big as hell, but she kept showing up late, and people start being like, "Man, she ain't gonna be there.
Yeah,
she ain't gonna show up. I ain't going."
And you just gotta be like graceful and thankful of the position and the platform that you got. I feel like a lot of people, once they start making a couple of million, it goes to their head and they start acting funny. You know, like when we made our first like $4 million, we was still the same people.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Even to this day, like people still could call my phone, people still could reach out to me. You still gonna see me at the events. You know what I'm saying? Like just because I'm making more money, that don't mean I'm better than somebody. Like I still respect everybody the same.
Hey, that's a big part of it. And I think that's why, again, why you have the success you have. Because you do stay humble no matter what, you know what I mean, what success you're reaching. And people see that and that kind of comes off of you. That's in your aura. So who inspires you to grind harder? Like who do you look at and make you say, man, I ain't doing enough. You gotta get out here.
Man, the crazy part, like my whole career, I never even looked at nobody and say I wasn't doing enough. I always told myself I'm not, no matter how much I do, I can do more. I can do better. I can do more. You know what I'm saying? Like I never like was that type of person to like look at what other people were doing and saying like, I need to go harder than him or harder than her. I used to just be like, man, I need to push myself to the limit. And that's what I would do every day, every week. I would push myself so hard till I got sick. I was the person that people was looking at saying, I need to go harder than him because this dude is always up. He's everywhere. He's doing 10 events. Because the stuff that I was doing, nobody was doing it. And I feel like even today, nobody is doing what we doing. Like I was that dude doing an event in 6 different states. And then you would see me post like smoking a cigar on the yacht. And they looking like, how the hell is this Negro name on all this shit and it's all running smooth and he's smoking a cigar on, you know, in the water, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like with how we move like strategic, you know what I'm saying? Like we mathematical, everything we do is like a formula. Like we create our own formula, we create our own structure. So I feel like that's what separated me from a lot of chefs because most chefs just know how to cook. They don't know how to do the business part. They don't understand like how money works. So what they do is they get money, they make money, and they spend money. They make it and they blow it as fast. They blowing it as fast as they making it. trying to keep up with people like me that understand money, that's doing what I'm supposed to do with it, because I have a financial advisor in my corner and I have an accountant advising me on what I need to do. But on the outside looking in, it looks like I'm blowing money, and I'm really not. I'm just doing the things I need to do for tax purposes. Because once you get in a certain bracket, you can't escape these taxes. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, we paying almost like $60,000 a month in taxes. So nobody sees that. We never post like, yeah, we just paid $60,000 in taxes. Because you would look at that and be like, damn, so him driving the Range ain't shit. Like he just spent 2 Ranges in 2 months. You know what I'm saying? So they don't understand like why you buying certain things. And I didn't understand that neither until we got in these positions, like seeing people buying private jets and buying these cars, and you know what I'm saying, like over, it has to be a certain way. It's because by the end of the year, if you don't spend this money, you're going to give it to the IRS anyway. Right. So you got to figure out the business. You got to, like, when we play a game, we play it to the max. So when you see, like, when I say we overdo it, when you see me doing it, you know it's not, I'm not coming lightweight. Like, we going all the way in to make you, like the girls say, when we see y'all, our jaws drop. Like, we want to make your jaws drop. Like, when you see it's like, oh, shit, like, they really, doing it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that attracts people that have money to want to spend more money or be around you just because they see how you moving, and they see that you don't need a whole bunch of people around you for your validation. They just see like, yo, these people are like really genuine people that's doing their thing, that's great at what they do.
Experience again. You give them the experience.
Yeah. It's like if I was a great chess player, you're going to see a lot of people coming to watch me play chess. It's not because I'm making a lot of, it's because they are fascinated by how good I am in playing chess. So when we do these events and we cook it, people just want to see, like, how is he doing this? Like, how does this, you know what I'm saying? And then when they try the food, people that never tried it and they see the pit, it tastes, because in their head, they start imagining what the food would taste like. So when they taste it and it tastes better than what they thought it was, it's like, oh shit, like now I got to put my people on to him, and then I got to put, so it's like a domino effect. When you great at something, like, and you love what you do, other people start loving it as well.
That's like that statement is so real, like, because people feel good about it. It's almost like in music, like finding that song that don't nobody know about. And it's like, hey, yo, you got to hear this song, it's crazy, and like you hipping them with something that's dope. It's the same thing with what you're saying. It's like they come there and they get that experience. It's like, yo, I got a spot for you. You got to check it out.
Yeah.
And you get that genuine love.
And it be that conversation like, yo, remember I put you onto that song, or remember I put you onto that spot?
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Because what we do, like when I sit down with my people, I always say, like, let's try to figure out what humans like. So you got to think about it like as a human. When you first born, when you go to restaurants, the first thing they do to a kid is try to distract you. They give you a coloring book or whatever, so you could draw on the table, color the books, or give you headphones, or put like a little TV. They distract you. So when you get older, you're just an older kid. You want that same feeling that you got when you was a kid, but in an adult way. So like, we just thinking like, how can we capture that for these people to give them that same experience, because they're not kids, but make them feel like a kid again. Because you got to think about it. When you do stuff, you want that same feeling that you felt when you was 10 years old, when you went to the Six Flags for the first time and you got on that ride. You like, oh, like, this is the greatest thing. So when you are an adult, you think in the same way, but you just an adult. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just a big kid. So I just felt like we just want to tap into the kid in people and just make them feel like a kid again when we do things.
Dope.
Yeah, you got a good way of putting a spin on it, brother. I definitely, and it's like, I understand it, because like you said, it's such business savvy, and you'd be surprised how many people just don't have it. You know what I mean?
Because when you go to restaurants, like, some restaurants are so boring. It's just like, like, even if the food is good, you like, man, like, I don't connect with this restaurant. Like with Kitchencray, it's like it's like a need for people. Like if we close down, people are upset. Why are y'all closed today? Like if if it's a snowstorm, it's like, I have to close because it's not just me no more. Like I got to worry about 50 employees getting in and not getting into an accident. So I got to do what's best for the company. When before I would just make it happen because it was my life on the line. Now we responsible for so many people. It's like now I have to keep growing. Every year we got to grow. We got to keep going. And a lot of people get stuck in one stage and they don't want to learn nothing and they don't grow. And I see it all the time. Like I try to mentor a lot of restaurant owners. I do consulting work just because they just don't know and they get overwhelmed. And in this business, like it's like the music business, don't put your emotions into it. Like that's what's wrong with them. People too emotional. It's like they don't treat it like a business. Like they treat it like this is my baby. It's like you gotta figure out like, all right, this is not my baby. This is my business, and we're gonna move accordingly. Because if you keep moving emotionally, you never gonna make it to the top.
Yeah.
That's like good advice right there. Because like if you think about it, a lot of people do say that like this is my baby and this and this, and like they will tend to like, you know what I mean, kind of treat it in this sense of emotions coming into it, and you do got to treat it like a business. You do got to have that like discipline to say, okay, these are the moves I got to make because this is what's going to be best, for the business side of things. So
and you got to understand mistakes are going to be made because you're working with humans. So you got to count that part in. Like you saying, oh, this is my baby, and you treating it like a baby, and you're going to stunt the baby's growth because you're going to treat the business like a baby your whole life because that's all you know. It's not a human, so you don't see the growth in it. You just, oh, it's my baby, and you making the same amount of money every year. You don't grow, you don't expand because you stunting the growth because you're looking at it as your baby. I don't look at it as my baby. Like we not. And the first time, when we went into business, I was emotionally attached to it. I was just like, I can't let go. Like I can't let somebody else run this and run that. Then I had to, talk to some people, even dealing with people in like the music industry. You would text somebody, don't get a text back, or you know what I mean, like looking like, yo, the dude just told me to do XYZ, and then now they're not responding at all. You can't even take that personally. You got to be like, shit, he might be going through some shit. All right, boom, he hit me when he hit me, or she hit me when she hit me. Before I used to be like, oh, this nigga fake. You know what I'm saying? Like, how we would just talking, we had a good vibe going on, some business going on, and then now I hit you up and there's no response. But then like when I step into their world, now I understand why they do the things that they do. So I'm just like, I can't take it personally. Like, they dealing with a lot. Like even with family, like everybody coming at you, like people don't understand, like when you're the one in the family making money, the things that you go through on a day-to-day from the public to your family. And it's not easy. And sometimes you gotta you need a break. So you gotta just cut everything off so you don't go crazy.
Yep. Facts.
Man.
Absolutely true.
You are telling the story, bro.
Yeah, like and then when you start making money, people start coming at you. You know what I'm saying? So your vision gotta be greater than the temptation. And I be telling these young dudes, I'll be like, bro, it's smoke and mirrors. Like don't believe everything what Jay-Z said, believe none of what you see or half of what you see and none of what you hear.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Because in this culture that we in now, it's all about fake it till you make it. But I always tell the dudes, yeah, you can fake it till you make it, but don't forget the make it part. Because they get so caught up in faking it that becomes making it to them. Like they just keep faking it until they knee deep in the joint and they can't pull themselves out.
Hey man, listen. I hope people out there got a pencil and paper right now, like writing this shit down. This is real. Like that's real. Like you just said another statement, like fake it till you make it. And a lot of people do say that, but you do get caught up in that loop of, we used to call it let the legend live. And you just letting the legend live like so hard that you never actually become the legend. Like you got to actually get to that point. You know what I'm saying? So that's real talk. Hey, so of the people who know you best, like the people who know you best, if they could describe you in 3 words, what would those words be?
One of the words would be resilient, a genius, and hard-headed.
You gotta be hard-headed. You gotta be.
because I'm like one of those people that I don't listen to people that much. You know, like I just can't follow what people do or what they say. Like I got to be that guy to say, you know, I'm going to do it this way, and I'm gonna do it this way and fail this way, just so I can know that the loopholes on me, you know, the lessons on what it took for me to get to the point where I failed, so then I could keep pushing it and to make it work. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just that type of person. Like I just want to, even if it seems impossible, if it's impossible, if I know how to make 100,000 and I fall off, I know how to make 100,000 again.
Yeah.
Now I could get to that point and say, all right, now how can I make 200? Now I get to 200 and get to the point where I fall off, and then now I know how to make 200. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people don't think like that. They just say, you know what, this don't work, I'm gonna find another way. Me, I like to like create my way and say, this is how I made it work. This is how I made it work for me.
I mean, and then like you said, like it's kind of like the statement of like going up, you know, you go up to the plate, and if I'm gonna strike out, I'm gonna strike out myself, but I'll make the adjustments for that next time to make sure I hit the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want to go up there making decisions because somebody else told you something and you don't try something, and that might have been the very damn thing you needed to do, but you listen to somebody else, and now you feeling regretful or you mad at them because you listen to them. And you can't be mad at them if you listen, like you made that choice. So,
and it's funny too that you say that.
I say it's like working out. Like you got to break your body down to build it up. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't just go the route. Everybody body different. So your body is not going to transform like my body is going to transform. So why should I eat what you're eating, and why should I do your regimen? It worked for you. Now I can take the base of yours to start off, and then now I got to do what works best for me so I can actually reach my goals. And a lot of people don't know what their goals are. They think their goals are what you are. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're successful, then I'm looking at you like that's what I want to be. But I don't know what it took for you to be there and the lessons you had to learn. And you know, you might have had suicidal thoughts one year. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what you went through. So I'm like, I gotta go through my own thing. Like my favorite quote is, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that's how I made it through. Like I always try to find, even in the negative situation, I try to find something positive. I change the way I look at it and look at it in a different light.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you say that too, because I mean, a lot of my perspective is kind of the same way, especially that hard-headedness. I'm sure Baker can co-sign on that. My biggest thing with it was a little bit more aggressive and saying, my thought process is always like, yo, if what you're doing was working, it would be working. You know what I mean? So let me do it my way. You know what I mean? And if it don't work, then cool. At least I can go to bed mad at myself. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah.
So I definitely totally understand where you come from with it, man. Like that's dope. It's dope though. It's definitely a dope way of thinking about it, for sure.
Look, a lot of people, I see a lot of people that go by that saying, the early bird gets the worm. And I said, did you ever think about the early worm gets eaten? Because at the end of the day, some days you're going to be the worm, some days you're going to be the bird. So it's all the way you look at stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like people never go like, but they don't never go deep when they look at things. They just stay surface level. And like when we do things, people like to work with me and put me on panels and like let me create, because they know like he's going to think about stuff we not thinking about. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you just fucked him up again. Look,
The
did you
worm
ever think about that? The early worm gets eaten. Hey, I'm gonna start the show next week. I'm gonna start the show next week with that statement. I'm telling you. Hey, so you know we've been in this pandemic for like almost a year now. How has it affected you as a restaurant owner? Like positive or negative? Like how has it affected you in Kitchencray?
In a positive way, I felt like it taught us, and it taught like the whole, like my staff, that nothing is routine. Like every day we got to be willing to adjust. We got to be willing to adjust. We have to be willing to educate our guests, educate ourselves, and we just be willing to adjust. Nothing is set in stone. Like I don't set nothing in stone. We got to move like we got to move how the world is moving. And in a negative way, I feel like the thing that I didn't like about this pandemic the most was that we had to lay off a lot of our staff. And, you know, I feel bad because they're good people. And, you know, like you find somebody that's killing it on their job and they don't understand that. You know, like to them, it's just like, I work for my money. Like I'm good at what I do. Like, why are you letting me go? And I'm, you know, it's hard to explain to them. Like, we can't do dine-in. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need 20 servers no more because we only can see 25%. You know, like I only need 25% of the servers now. You know, so and if everybody is good, I can't keep all of y'all because then that's selfish because I can't pay everybody what they need to be paid to make it through. And then they take a year off and now they forget the business. They don't know how to work no more because they've been at home for a whole year. You know, when you trying to bring them back, they like, man, we making $4,000 a month sitting at home. I don't want to come back and work no more. So it's just like it's crazy times and crazy situations.
Shout out to brother Mike G. He said, shout out to the JR, man. You can go with shoving the game, man.
Mike G, another black chef, another black DMV chef, giving you props.
Oh, it was good. Appreciate that.
So looking forward, you know, we kind of found out how Kitchencray started. Where do you see, what do you see for Kitchencray in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I see us in multiple states. We partnering up with Wale on the Mumbo Salsa.
Losing you, bro.
JR Robinson.
Hold up, JR.
I'm working on
all right, JR, hold up. You got to go back. You was in the choppy area, so we didn't really hear you. We heard the last thing we heard was the Mumbo Sauce Wale.
Yeah, so in the next 5 years, you know, I see us in different states. The sauce going with Wale. I'm working on my Chef JR Robinson brand as we speak. So I'm gonna open some stuff up with that. We just created the app. You're gonna see us in the airports, cookbooks. I'm gonna be an art collector as well. So you're gonna see like a lot of dope artists in our venues working on, you know, the speakeasy. And whatever comes our way, like I'm just that type of person to just adjust and just create the wave, create the flow. So we working on some good stuff.
Dope. Well, you know, out west, man. Can't wait for you to bring it out west.
Yeah, I definitely got to come out there because when I go there, it's like it don't be nothing there. You know what I'm saying? So we need to create that vibe.
Hey, I'm telling you.
They need that flavor.
I'm in this Bay Area, and we struggle trying to find something with that vibe. You know, you get spoiled, and then you come out and it's like, man, I can't find it. It ain't here.
Yeah. Look, I'm telling you, like, people that move to LA, they hit me up all the time. Bro, when you gonna open something up out here? Like, it's nothing in LA. And I'll be like, LA expensive, so I gotta make sure when I come out there, I'm ready to really invest and, you know, do the marketing and do it right the first time.
Yeah.
Man, you can live in the valley, bro. You can live in the valley.
But they say DC is like one of the hardest markets to make it in, and the DMV been showing us a lot of love. So I feel like if we can make it here, we can come out there and do some good things
and kill it,
bro. I'm telling you right now, you would absolutely, man. It'd be quick. There ain't nothing out here like that, bro. It's like they need that flavor, bro.
Yeah.
Trust me.
And a lot of the chefs and like most of the places, they look up to what we do because they never see nobody doing it how we do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, the guy that I met out here, he's originally from New Orleans, but you know, he's kind of doing his thing and kind of doing some pop-ups for people, but like he definitely mentioned your name as somebody he like looks up to and sees the movement. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. I
again,
done had people tell me I'm their idol. I'm like, nah, Jesus should be your idol. Like
hey,
just I'm just a dude trying to do good business. That's it. I done had people meet me, break down and cry. I'm like, yo, what is going? I do even like, you know, it's crazy now. Like when we travel, I gotta like travel with bodyguards and all that. Like it's just, it's a different move. Like people be like, yo, chefs need bodyguards. You know what I'm saying? Saying like when I say we overdo it and we make it look good, that's what we do. You know what I mean? Like, cause they feel like, you know, only, you know, celebrities and rappers and stuff need security. Cause I'm like, yo, we need, like Suge Knight said, you never know what you need until you need it. So always be ahead of the game.
Yeah. That's real. That's real.
So we travel different. We still the same people. We have fun with it. We inspire people and we like to put people on.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people always ask, like, how did you grow so fast? I'm like, step out in the community. Stop trying to think because you can post food on Instagram and people are going to connect with you. I'm like, you got to actually go out there and connect with the people so they know who they're connecting with, you know?
I mean, you bust your ass too, man. Like, you know, it is what it is. Like at the end of the day, you've said it plenty of times on here. You work hard. You put a vision out there. You provide quality, like you provide a quality experience. You know what I mean? Like it's not like you get all the people there and then when they get there, it's like some shit where it's like, okay, I'll never do this again. You know what I'm saying? So it's steps to the game, man. Like it ain't just going just happen. Like you said, it can't post grilled cheese on the internet and be like, oh, now everybody gonna love me. Nah. You gotta put the work in. So you definitely put the work in.
And you gotta start changing people's lives. Like that's what we do best. I feel like we change people's lives. Like I done got pulled over by the police for them to say thank you. Like, you know, like because what we do too is like our team we watch a lot of the news. If a kid get murdered, we gonna sponsor their funeral. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You never know who funeral or who you sponsoring until you hit the streets and people be like, oh, that was my cousin, that was my aunt, that thank you. Like you know what I mean? So we could go anywhere and people love us because they know our heart and they know when they spend money with us, we give back.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Hey, look, so we coming up to the end of this. I just wanted to like give you time to like kind of speak on some things you got going on right now. What's coming up like next? I know you spoke about filling up the truck to drive down to Texas.
Yeah.
What other things you got going on?
NBA All-Stars going on. So we're doing a big brunch in Atlanta. So we're working on the details of that. They should be finalized by Tuesday. So if people want to check us out, go to our Instagram at Kitchencray Cafe, Mr. Chefito. They could subscribe to the website at kitchencray.com. They could download the Kitchencray app and just stay in touch in what we're doing. And, like they're going to keep seeing us pushing forward. And if anybody want to join the movement, they can. Like we always welcoming people to join what we're doing. Just doing positive stuff in the neighborhood and just showing people that Black people can stick together. And it's not about what they see on the news or what they try to highlight on the news or us killing each other. You know what I mean? Just doing crazy stuff because we in certain situations where we're just trying to survive.
Yeah. That's real. That's real. Well, look, Donnie, I don't know if you got anything. I mean, I'll say my piece. JR, we appreciate you like hopping on, being in the car. Apologize for the miscommunication with the time, man.
I was like, and it was crazy. I was looking for the Instagram. I'm like, because I be getting so many DMs. I'm like, damn, I can't even. I know you said 3:00, so I went in at 3:00, and I'm just like, all right, I got that message. So I'm like, all right, maybe they didn't, cancel it. Like maybe I'm reading it wrong. And I was tired because I was working earlier, so I was just like, all right, boom. Then when I got my car started, I had to take my daughter, drop my daughter home, and I was like, oh. I seen the message from Meredith because I wasn't even on Instagram. She was like, hey, Nick said that. I said, oh, shit, let me go on. And that's when I seen your message. And I was like, all right, good thing she texted me because I would have missed the whole show.
Like, look, I reached out. I was like, hit him up because I in my head, I was like, I know that 3 p.m. might be throwing people off.
Yo, I was on there at 3 p.m. because I told my wife, I was like, yeah, because I knew I had to, take my daughter home at, we was going to leave at 6. So I said at 3, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take a nap, then I'm going to take my daughter home.
Yeah.
That was my little schedule today.
Well, look, we appreciate the flexibility, man. We appreciate the flexibility.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate
you doing the interview in the car.
Of course, bro.
Thank you.
Of course. I mean, I got to say too, like, at the end of the day, it is what it is, man. It's just a pleasure to see you do your thing, man. Like, just to being able to witness it, see it, man. Like, you're doing your thing, man. I'm so happy for you, man. As again, you've been nothing but humble, been dope the whole time. So, you know what I mean? Just to see the blessings to come back to you, man. It's awesome. You know what I mean? And inspiring.
And the same to y'all, man. I see y'all out here hustling, grinding. Like, it's gonna pay off. You know what I'm saying? Like, just and any other business owners out there that's going through anything hard or just starting out, like, just know if you do it right the first time, it's gonna pay off. Like, don't think about the money right now. Just think about the craft and the quality, and you're gonna win.
Indeed. Those are words for sure. Anything you got any last words, brother Baker?
Man, you got it, man. Great interview. Appreciate all the gems in there. Like, you dropped a lot of gems. When we put up this replay of this interview, man, make sure y'all got y'all pen and paper out to get these gems and write them down, because you kind of laid out the blueprint to be successful. So y'all make sure y'all have your pen and paper out for that. So just appreciate it, man. Appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, brother.
Y'all have a good one.
You too. And we out.